Hello and welcome to Inside Neyland Stadium. I'm Ryan Sylvia with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network, and Tennessee football just held their first scrimmage of 2024 fall camp here inside Neyland under the lights. You can see the home of the Vol sign lit up right behind me. Earlier today on VolReport.com, I wrote an article talking about 3 questions Tennessee will want to have answered in this fall scrimmage. So I figured let's talk about what Josh Heupel just had to say to us and kind of recount everything and see how those questions were answered. The first one was, what does Tennessee have behind Dylan Sampson at running back? Dylan Sampson did not play in this scrimmage today. So the question is, who are the guys behind them? Number one guy on the list is Deshaun Bishop, and that's who I named, and that's who Josh Heupel named. He went into a lot of depth on what Deshaun Bishop brings to the table and how he's a hard runner and how he uses his blockers correctly and really is kind of something that fits really well into what Tennessee wants to do in the run game. So Deshaun Bishop's the first guy that he mentions, and I think that's interesting because if you think back to the last time Tennessee was in these situations back last fall, Deshaun Bishop was one of the first guys Heupel talked about then as well. So Bishop's really emerging as kind of that running back 2 option. Of course, Cam Seldon's still banged up because of his injury and isn't expected to necessarily be back for the start of the season. He was the expected running back 2. Who's that going to be now, assuming Dylan Sampson's healthy? It's starting to more and more look like it really is going to be Deshaun Bishop, and it's not just, hey, he has good fall camps, he has good spring camps, he's a good practice player. It looks like he's going to get his shot to playing some sort of role for Tennessee in meaningful football games, which is cool to see because just 2 years ago he came in, or a year ago he came in kind of a last-second decision after dropping from another school and deciding to stay home in Knoxville and go to Tennessee. My second question then was about that star position. Jordan Thomas goes down with a non-contact injury in practice, and he's going to miss the remainder of the season. So who steps up? Looked like Boot Carter could be that guy as a freshman, and Josh Heupel seemed really pleased with what Boot Carter was able to do tonight and the way that he was able to play despite being just a freshman. Now, he was asked specifically about Boot Carter, so it's not like he was asked about the star and then the first thing out of his mouth was Boot Carter, but when talking about Boot Carter, he seemed really complimentary of what he brought to the table. He did say Christian Harrison's also getting reps at star. That's someone that's been in the program a little bit longer, but you'll have a little bit of time to iron that out. And Boot Carter came into the season kind of projected to be the 2-string star guy. We'll have to see what they want to do, if they want to move Christian Harrison into that star position now because he has more experience as a defensive back at Tennessee, or if they just want to elevate Boot Carter right there and say, hey, you're a freshman, but we like what we've seen. Let's see what you can do in this spot. He seemed pretty confident in what the cornerbacks brought to the table. Specifically, he complimented the cornerbacks a lot, and that's different than the star position, but he liked what the defensive backs did overall. It really seemed like. The final thing, offensive line, specifically, I wanted to know about the left guard a little bit. I don't think Tennessee really maybe found out too much about that specifically, but Josh Heupel talked about the depth that Tennessee has on that offensive line. You missed some guys on the line tonight, so you got to see a little bit more of that depth on display. And it once again, I mean, not that I expect Josh Heupel to go in and rag on a position group and say they did bad and this and that. You expect him to be complimentary of his guys, but it seemed like a genuine feeling of like they're in a good spot. And Tennessee's trying to build more offensive line depth, and that's going to be important this year because you have guys like Cooper Mays who's missed time in the past. So what do you have behind him in the case that maybe you do need to have someone else? You've missed guys like that before. Javonte Spraggins is coming off an injury. John Campbell's been banged up in his career. So what do you have behind them? What do you have to plug in at left guard? Josh Heupel seems confident in the guys that are maybe 6th on the depth chart in terms of the offensive line as a total, and then building on that beyond and beyond. So Tennessee feels like they're in a good spot. We're a few weeks out from the opening game against Chattanooga right here at Neyland Stadium, and once again, I didn't expect Josh Heupel to come in and say anything bad about his team, but it felt like he was in a good mood and happy about how things went down here tonight. If you want to stay up to date the remainder of fall camp as Tennessee pushes forward towards that August 31st kickoff with Chattanooga, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head over to VolReport.com for all of our written content. Join the Rocky Top Forum. We have daily discussion on all things Tennessee sports. Links to everything is in the description. Thank you for watching.